Welcome back to Toy Stories. I am thrilled to note this milestone episode 50. 50 episodes. I mean, wow. I can't even believe I'm saying that. I just want to thank you so much for being here, for following along and being on this journey with us. So it's been a lot of fun, a wild ride, and here's to 50 more. All right. Today, I want to talk about something that's very important, and that is sex positivity. Okay. I get a lot of questions about it, and so I want to answer as many as I can here with you today. Sex positivity to me is an ever evolving concept in life. And it's important to remember that as you go along in your journey, you can grow and change many times. And that's okay. Like, I find that for even myself. Sex positivity is really what you make it. And that's what I think is the beauty in it. Like, as you grow, as you learn, as you explore, you get to change and, pivot and navigate different ways that you try something once, you like it, you do it again. And if you don't, then you won't. Like, I love saying that because that's really what it is. And like sex positivity and your journey towards it is such an individual thing, and you can make it exactly what you want at any given time. So I love that. I think that I just want to get right into the questions. All right. So here goes. How can I communicate my sexual needs and desires with my partner in a healthy and positive way? I will say that majority of my questions is like, how do I talk to my partner? How do I approach my partner? How do I get my partner to want this or need that? And this answer sounds so simple, but it really is this easy, and it's true. Use your words. I think the first conversation is the toughest one to have. And if you can move forward past that, it's downhill from there. Well, uphill, downhill. Downhill sounds bad, but it gets easier. As the moment you have that first groundbreaking icebreaker conversation, it's easier from then on. Okay. So use your words. Now, when I talk about the first conversation is the toughest, I also want you to remember there is a right time and a right place to have this conversation. So you don't want to have it in a heated conversation. You don't want to have it, after an argument. You don't want to have it when your partner's tired and exhausted from work. So peep the vibe, right? Like, timing is everything. Sit your partner down, make sure you're both in a comfortable and, secure space where you can openly use your words with your partner. Okay. But it really is just say it. Okay. Speak about it. How's your partner going to know if they don't know, right? I mean, like, you have to tell them. And I know myself as a woman, I find myself being like, why doesn't he just get it? Why doesn't he just see? But people need to be told. And, again, like, I mean, even in my past, I've noticed where I've been like, why don't they just get it? I don't understand how they don't know. And then I finally tell them and they're like, Adrienne, I had no idea. So use your words. Okay. And something else to sweeten the deal, already be thinking about ways that you can get started. So if you're like, hey, our sexy time is really sporadic and not as frequent as I would like, how about we dedicate every Friday night to a date night, or every Saturday evening, or whatever it can be. And everybody has, crazy, chaotic lives, but whatever makes sense for you as a couple, already start thinking ahead for your partner and doing the groundwork for them. Like, hey, let's have a date night every Friday. Let's have a staycation. Let's get a babysitter, send the kids to their grandparents or whatever, and just carve out alone time for you two. Like, start thinking ahead. So if you sit down with your partner and use your words, and you sweeten the deal by having, a plan already kind of laid out, especially if you're speaking to a woman, because I know me, I don't want to be the planner. I don't want to be the thinker or the doer. I want it, like, when a man handles and takes care of things for me already in advance, I'm like, ding, ding, right? Like, hook, line, sinker, you got me. So that's what I would do. I think that's a very healthy way to communicate your sexual needs. And it really does all start with using your words. How can I explore my own sexuality and preferences without feeling shame or judgment? How do I relate to this? You have no idea. That has been, and if I'm being honest, it still is a fear of mine. I still have issues with, openly sharing my journey and discussing the things I'm into. But at the end of the day, I like to remember, I have to live my life for me, and I want to live my best authentic life. And that means stepping outside of my comfort zone and not worrying about shame or judgment. I think a good place to start for you would be to start learning, right? Like start exploring, reading about different things, learning different practices and becoming more comfortable with them. You can start with something as simple as, going and filling out that BDSM.org test, right? Like there's lots of different things you can explore and do. And also, once you start really embracing your own sexual empowerment, the amount of care that you will give to others and what others think about you, you don't care anymore. You care less and less and less because you are literally fulfilling your own self and needs. Okay. I also highly suggest, practice with yourself and build that confidence. Okay. I highly suggest Coco from tracysdog.com. I feel like that is the most entry level groundbreaking toy that you can use. It's easy to use, very non-intimidating. Like there's nothing intimidating about that toy, and it is uber quiet. Okay. I know like some toys can be very loud and it can be distracting. To me, Coco from tracysdog.com is the best toy to get started. And I think solo play and focusing on your own self-pleasure is one of the very best ways to build your confidence sexually. And then you can not worry about being judged or shamed because you're happy with yourself. And that's another thing too. You don't need to seek approval from anybody else to have fulfillment from the things that you love and want to do. Okay, so remember that. Like your happiness begins with yourself. So that's a big one too. What are some safe and consensual ways to experiment with different sexual activities or fantasies? We were just talking about it. And first and foremost, solo play. Okay, like solo play is the very best way to experiment, to see what you're into. I can honestly say that most of my experience in learning and evolving and finding out what I like is through completely being by myself and doing it by myself, trying things by myself and finding out what I like, what I dislike, what I would want more of when I was with a partner. So solo play is huge. Also, if you are with other partners and you're exploring, communication and consent is everything. Okay. So they are must-haves. Over-communicating, by the way, so that everyone's comfortable, and heavy on the consent. And last but not least, make sure you're using protection. We talk about safe ways to explore and experiment. Protection is vital, especially if you have multiple partners, so make sure you're doing that as well. How can I support and affirm the sexual identities and experiences of my friends or loved ones? I love this question. One of the things that I feel like everyone knows me, I'm out there, I'm open, and even like in, private settings or with people in my life, I'm just a very open person. I think people feel very safe to talk to me. And what I love is that there's people in my life from many different backgrounds and from many different places who have totally different experiences sexually than I do, or thoughts or ideas or notions. And what's nice and what I really value in the friendships that I have with them when we're discussing things is that they are simply open and they listen to me. They don't judge or criticize or make indirect, rude comments or talk behind my back. Not that I know of, but really just being open. And then when you're trying to support someone else with like what they're going through, or if they're sharing openly with you about their journey, learn from them openly. Listen to them. Like I love when someone genuinely asks me, Adrian, what is the lifestyle? Like, what does that mean? Like, what do you mean you're a unicorn? What do you mean ethically non-monogamous? What do you mean, that you're in an open relationship? How does that work for you? And they're genuinely curious and just open to the ideas that I'm sharing. And I even have some friends that will say to me, Adrian, I never knew this existed. Thank you for that. And I love that because they're being open, and then I feel safe and we can have that conversation back and forth. And then I know that, they're going to support me no matter what. So if someone is openly sharing with you, make sure that you support them. You show your support for them no matter what as well. So those are all really good things. And I just want to thank everyone in my life who is open, and those of you who have learned from me or just listened to me, because it means a lot, right? Because there is a lot of judgment and criticism, and it's rough sometimes. So those of you that are open and listening and learning and genuinely just care, That's amazing. How do you define healthy sexual expression? I think that, you're healthily sharing your sexual expression when you are doing so in a safe and consensual way. Like, that is a very simple answer to that question: safe and consensual. Okay. What are some common misconceptions about sex that you would like to challenge? That just because somebody's sex positive, it doesn't mean they want to sleep with everyone. Okay. That is one of the biggest things. And I think there's a huge difference between ethical non-monogamy, or an ethical slut, if you will, and someone who is just deemed promiscuous or slutty or whatever. I think that's a huge thing. So I wish that misconception would hastily go away. I'm so tired of that, like, oh my gosh, you're just, all the negative things that come along with that. And that's so not what it is. Just because I'm sex positive, it doesn't mean I'm promiscuous. Okay. What are some strategies for practicing safer sex and preventing sexually transmitted infections? Use protection always, 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 always. And there are times where I think to myself, like, gosh, this would be so much easier if we didn't have to deal with this. But no, like, there's never an exception. Use protection always. And further, vet your partners properly. I have to have not a relationship, but a connection with them, a trusting relationship with them, a foundation secured before, we're just getting it on with each other. And so make sure you're vetting your partners, okay? And ask them directly before clothes come off, tell me about your sexual health. How often do you get tested? That's a very common question that I always ask when I'm like thinking about, making that move with someone or possibly playing with them. I will point blank ask them, how often do you get tested? Have you ever had, I've had HPV in the past, and, this is what I've done, and this is how often I get tested, and sexual health is very important to me. Like, what does it mean for you? Like, have that conversation with your partner. And again, just always use protection. How can I cultivate a positive body image and feel more confident and comfortable in my own skin during sexual encounters? Please, for the love of God, I want everyone to remember, no one cares. They are so excited and so happy and thrilled to be naked with you. Okay. So they don't care. I used to be so self-conscious about being on top, and I'm like, oh, my jelly roll, or I don't want them to see my back fat, or I hate the stretch marks on my stomach. They don't care. They don't care. Genuinely, just remember, no one cares. Also, I think, the look good, feel good theory goes a long way. Work out. Have a healthy diet. Take care of yourself, because when you look good, you're going to feel good. You're going to be more confident in the bedroom. Okay. And then last but not least, I love treating myself to really fun and sexy and new outfits that just make me feel absolutely beautiful. And I love trying them on and picking one for my partner. It's almost like foreplay for me as well. And so treat yourself to a new outfit. There's a million different things you can buy on Amazon or go to a local sex shop. If you need an idea, hit me up over on Instagram at toystories_TD. I will help you out. Just look good, feel good, build that confidence in yourself. And just please remember, they don't care. They really don't care. Okay. What is your favorite read on sex positivity? Hands down, The Ethical Slut by Janet Hardy. It is such a groundbreaking book. It's a guide that navigates you through all of the possibilities that open relationships or embracing your own sexuality has to offer. So I really enjoyed The Ethical Slut. It's a great book. What does it mean to have a healthy relationship with porn, and how can I consume it ethically and responsibly? It's a really good question. And I know there's a lot of thoughts and comments when it comes to watching erotica. And I just want to say this. I think go with your gut instinct. If it makes you uncomfortable, don't do it. And I think, like everything else, balance, moderation. There's definitely, addictions that come with that and stuff. So I think as long as you're comfortable and you're safe and you're, if you're watching with a partner, both of you are consenting to it or whatever, and you're everything in moderation, I think you're good. But I know that erotica can be a very touchy subject for a lot of people. I think to each their own, and just, be safe and comfortable and mindful about it, right? How can I navigate sexual consent and boundaries in a respectful and empowering way with my partner? I think I've said this a couple times already, but I really want to harp on this. Consent is everything. Okay, so, you need to make sure that you're using your words, preferably before clothes come off. And then also, even if you're in the middle of an act, before you do something, you want to ask. And I think, by the way, that is a very sexy thing for me when one of my partners is like, do you mind if I do this? Or do you mind if I do that? And it turns me on because I'm like, wow, they care so much. And they're openly asking me for consent. And it also makes me feel so safe. And that just leads to an overall better experience. So I love that question. Consent is key, making sure that you talk about boundaries and things that you want to, respect in one another. And having that conversation outside of the bedroom is always good. But if you're inside, stop in the moment. It's okay. And have a quick conversation or a comment like, do you mind if how do you feel about, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. So that's a pro level move if you ask me to. I want to challenge you to a few things and ask you, because I think for you to get started with ways to, increase your sex positivity, I have some things for you to try. So let's talk about that. My first question is, do you talk about sex? How are you comfortable talking about sex with others? Do you have people that you can go to when you have questions about sex? Because that's important, right? Do you have anyone to talk to about a great sexual experience that you've had? I'm thinking to myself, how many friends come to me immediately, Adrian, you won't believe this, or, oh my gosh, last night this, or my partner tried this. Be that friend for someone, okay? Because I love that I have my friends who I can go to who are non-judgmental, who support me no matter what. And they're almost cheering me on, hell yeah, I'm happy for you. Having my sex positive friends and my crew and my tribe around me is everything. Okay. So I'm asking you, do you have someone that you can go to and talk about that stuff? Because it's important. Here's another question. Do you ever use humor to mask discomfort when you're talking about sex? You're going to want to think about why you would do that. And then are you able to ask for the sexual interactions that you want from your partner? Are you comfortable using your words? And if not, how can you get there? And then the other thing is, do you speak positively about your own sexuality? Whatever that means, whatever you're into, are you confident and comfortable sharing that? And do you say it as a positive? I have a lot of male friends who are bisexual, and it is a tough thing for them to talk about. And they'll say to me, well, I'm bi. And I'm like, well, is that a negative thing? That already sounds bad. So just flip the narrative on that and be confident. You know what I mean? That's a big thing. I think answering those questions can really help you gauge where you're at and find a place, for you to get started on your own sex positivity journey. Okay. I feel as a woman, fully embracing my own sexuality and being very sex positive, the journey has been fantastic for me. I've come so far from, exploring the lifestyle, dabbling into bisexuality, being so open, trying, many new facets of sexuality and all that it has to offer. It's not the easiest thing in the world, and there's some bumps along the way, and I've made mistakes, no doubt, but it's worth it because I am liberated with my sexuality myself. All right. So listen, Toy Stories fam, can you please do me a favor? Can you subscribe to the show? And if you're on YouTube, subscribe and, follow the channel, send me a comment. Those things really help. And remember, you can reach out to me anytime. I can be your sex positive bestie over on Instagram. It's at toystories_TD. And I will see you guys back here next week for episode 51, where I am going to be talking all about sexual health habits. I'm excited for this one.